here in Wavre, Belgium. This is Saudi World Series E-Sprint Finals, and we have come to the most important races of this day in this beautiful racetrack here in Wavre. Two levels and the track crossing itself multiple times during the one lap. We have 98 drivers from all around the world, 21 different nationalities, and we are ready for the finals. The drivers went through the qualifying in the morning, and then according to the qualifying results, they were split for the first and second heats. Before the second heats, they were really short qualifying sessions, only 3 laps for each driver, actually only 2 flying laps for each driver. That already made the results unpredictable in many of the groups, and now considering the results from both heats, from first and second, counted together, we have new groups for the finals. And for the first final in Group G, we will see Fawaz Youssef, Emanuele Signorini, Balázs Schutz, Ayrton Comi, Enrico Camarata, Nicolas Schifferl, Jason Bourbon, Tani Borja, Patrick Prahojnik, Wouter Popelier, Herdy Fosi, Sylvain Brossard, Laura Veterova, and Julien Bianchi. They are already in go-karts waiting for the start of their final. And tomorrow we have almost the same agenda as today, but the winner of the Saudi World Series E-Sprint will be the one who will get the most points out of both days of racing. So it is not enough to win one final, it is not enough to win second final. You have to be best through the both days of racing, and then we will have the Saudi World Series E-Sprint champion here in Belgium. That is a third row for E-Sprint finals in Saudi World Series. First was 2 years ago in Sweden. Last year we went to Switzerland, to wonderful track of Payerne, and now we are here in Belgium in Wavre, in a great indoor racetrack with absolutely fantastic tarmac, with a tremendous amount of grip on the track. The go-karts are there are almost no slides. The go-karts are starting to jump through the corners if driver goes too fast in there, and tires are getting so much grip that they are overheating and the lap times are going down to the end of qualifying session. That is quite unusual with leisure karts, with a rental go-karts, that the grip is so big on the racetrack. But now Group G, our 14 drivers are ready to go on the track and ready to go racing. Now they are making a queue at the exit of the pit lane. We have 7 great races ahead of us now. This is 7 finals for the first day of racing here in Saudi World Series E-Sprint. There is a still red light at the exit of the pit lane, and as soon as it goes green, all drivers will proceed to the formation lap. Only a few seconds silence on the track, and there they go. Green light is on. The formation lap has started, and Group G finalists are on the track now. Formation lap for them, and we are ready to race. There were 12 minutes in the first and second heats. Now we have 15 minutes long races in the finals. Here they are through the formation lap. There comes Julien Bianchi, Laura Veterova, Sylvain Brossard, Herdy Fosi, Wouter Popelier, Patrick Prahojnik, Tani Borja, Jason Bourbon, Nicolas Schiffer, Enrico Camarata, Ayrton Comi, Balázs Schutz, Emanuele Signorini, and Fawaz Youssef. The formation lap is done, and now we will make the right order, the right queue for the starting positions. It is Jason Bourbon and Herdy Fozzi, then Julien Bianchi and Tani Boria, Popelier and Signorini waiting for their starting slots to be allocated on the grid. Jason Bourbon from the pole position. Besides him is Herdy Fozzi with a go-kart number 8. Then Tani Boria with number 16 in P3. Julien Bianchi with number 1 starting from outside of the second row on the grid. Popelier with number 11, Signorini number 29, Balázs Schutz with 26, 7th on the grid. Outside of 4th row is Fawaz Youssef, then Ayrton Komi, Enrico Camarata, Laura Veterova, then Brossard, Prahoynik and Schifferl. Still waiting for the right order. We have first 3 rows on the grid now. The judges are checking something. There is some confusion about the starting positions now. 6 drivers already on the grid. Someone tried to warm up the tires during formation lap. Now they are getting colder and colder, waiting on the grid or waiting before the penultimate corner on the last lap to go to the starting position. That is go-kart number 30 for Fawaz Youssef. He is approaching the grid. He takes 8th slot outside of the 4th row. Then Ayrton Komi with number 25 goes to P9. '26 for Balázs Schutz. He is in P8 currently. Now in P7. P8 is Fawaz Youssef. Then Ayrton Komi, Enrico Camarata, Laura Veterova, then Brossard, Prahoynik and Schifferl. It seems like everyone has got their starting positions, and we will run the finals as soon as track is ready, as judges are in their spots to watch everything what happens on the track. We are just about to start the finals in the first day of racing here in Wavre. Still some confusion with the starting positions. Number 8 of Herdy Fozzi now pushed back to the first position, to the pole position. And there is Julien Bianchi with number 1. Is he going to no, he is going to P3 on the grid. So we swap the sides of the first 2 rows on the grid. Fozzi Herdy now starting from pole position. It is Jason Bourbon who is in... No, it's Tani Boria who is in P2 now, and Jason Bourbon is in P4. And still it's Julien Bianchi starting from P3. So first 2 rows, completely different allocation as on the screens as we waited before the start. Now it seems like those are the correct starting positions. It is number 8 of Herdy Fozzi, It's number 16 of Tani Boria, it's number 19 of Jason Bourbon, and it's number 1 for Julien Bianchi. Everyone else, they are on their starting positions, and we are ready to race. At least we hope so. Some changes on the grid. The last check before the start. Is everyone right in their starting positions? So all checked, everyone in their starting positions, and we are ready to go. The judges are ready, the stewards are in their posts. We have a green flag at the start, and we are ready to race. The first day, the finals are on, and we are racing again. The G final starts, the fight starts through the first 2 corners. And there is a crash going uphill. One driver spins, and that is number 30. It is Fawaz Youssef, who now is dead last at this race. And the first lap of this 15 minutes race it's Herdy Fozzi who takes the lead in a first lap, followed by Jason Bourbon, then Tani Boria and Julien Bianchi. Fawaz Youssef is last now, trying to catch everyone else, but this is so far away. Jason Bourbon has lost 3 places at the start. It seems Fozzi, Boria, Bianchi, and only then comes Jason Bourbon with his number 19. First lap is completed. Fozzi is leading, Boria second, Bianchi third, and Jason Bourbon from P1 down to P4. Emanuele Signorini comes from further back and is up to P5. Balazs Suts now starting from P6. And Wavre Popeliers now completing the first lap in a 7th place, followed by Enrico Camarata, Ayrton Comi, Laura Veterova, Sylvain Brossard, Nicolas Schifferl, and Patrick Prachoenig. And only then, almost 11 seconds after Patrick Prachoenig, comes Fawaz Youssef. He's very far off everyone else. A few crashes, a few positions gained, a few positions lost. The race has started. 15 minutes is the length of the finals. Already 2 minutes spent on the track. Fozzi leading, Boria second, Bianchi third, Bourbon in P4, and then Emanuele Signorini in P5. And here they come again, Fozzi, Boria and Bianchi fighting for the first. Then is almost a second gap between third and fourth places. Emanuele Signorini moves up to P4 in front of Balazs Suts, Wavre Popeliers and Enrico Camarata. Jason Bourbon is down to 13. Very unfortunate start of this race for Jason Bourbon. Now he is last, he is out of the race. Fawaz Youssef moves up to P13. Laura Veterova sets the best lap time of 48.6 seconds, but Herdy Fozzi still leading the race. Tani Boria in second and Julien Bianchi in third. They are within 1 second, only 0.8 seconds separating them from first to third place. There is a gap of 1 second between third and fourth positions. Emanuele Signorini moved up 1 place already, gained positions at the start, and Tani Boria moves in front of Herdy Fozzi. They have 0.6 seconds between them now. Tani Boria is leading the race. Fozzi second, Julien Bianchi still third, only 0.3 of a second behind. Emanuele Signorini up to 4, and now he's only 9 tenths of a second behind the leaders. And here is a fight for a second place. It is Julian Bianchi trying to get inside on the next corner. He is left outside, and here comes Emanuele Signorini trying to get the best of this situation. There is Balázs Zúc right after Emanuele Signorini. They are fighting on the track. Signorini stays outside at the exit of the corner, and they are fighting for the positions in the top 5. And now Tani Boria completes the lap. Balázs Zúc up to 4th place. Wouter Popeliers also in front of Emanuele Signorini. He gained the start, he got 1 position back, and now he is 2 positions down. Emanuele Signorini continuing in P6. There comes Enrico Camarata behind him in P7. There is only 3 tenths of a second between them. Camarata is very, very close behind. Then Ayrton Comi. 3 Italians fighting each other. Signorini is 6th, Camarata 7th, and Comi in P8. And Herdy Fosi lost even more positions during this lap. We have almost every lap a new leader in this race. Tani Boria still stays first, but Herdy Fosi lost 2 positions during this lap. Is Julian Bianchi now up to P2. Balázs Zúc following him in P3. 2.7 seconds now is the advantage of Tani Boria. He is quite far away. Everyone else is changing their positions and fighting for positions on the track, but Tani Boria is pulling away with 48.5 seconds. That is also a fastest lap of this race. 48.6 for him in this lap. Tani Boria is going away in front of everyone. 2.7 seconds. His advantage. Then Bianchi, Zúc and Fosi within 1 second after each other. Popeliers in P5, Signorini P6, then 7th is Enrico Camarata, Ayrton Comi 8th, then Sylvain Brossard in P9, and Loro Veterova completes top 10. Emanuele Signorini fights back, he moves up to P5. There is a lot of racing going on behind him, so starting with a P4, Fosi, Signorini, Popeliers, Camarata, Comi, Brossard, Veterova and Schiffer. Everyone just a few tenths behind the next driver in front. So Tani Boria is almost only one who got at least comfortable advantage in the front. Tani Boria now is 2.9 seconds in front of everyone, but behind there is a fight for every position on the track. Bianchi, Zúc, Fosi and Signorini, Popeliers and Camarata, Comi, Brossard, Veterova and Schiffer. Only a few centimeters, only a few tenths of a second separating them. There is a bigger gap behind where comes Fawaz Youssef. There is still 6.5 seconds to go for Youssef. Jason Bourbon is out of the race. He did not complete this race. Something happened to his go-kart and now he is out already. 6 laps missing, but everyone else are fighting for their positions on the track. New best lap time from Tani Boria, 2.8 seconds is a gap between first and second place. Julian Bianchi sets the new record in the first sector of the lap. Balázs Zúc is only 3 tenths of a second behind him. It moves to 5 tenths of a second now, and going to the next lap behind Fosi is Signorini, Popeliers, Camarata, Comi, Brossard, Veterov, Schiffer and Prachoinig. Every one of them within a second behind leading driver. New lap record for Julian Bianchi. 48.2, but this is only 0.05 of a second faster than goes Tani Boria. So still Boria has a 2.7 seconds lead and answers in this lap with a new record in a second sector. There is a fight for Popeliers and Camarata. Camarata in number 21 goes side by side with Popeliers. Tani Boria completes one more lap, followed by Bianchi and Zúc. And Camarata in front of Comi, in front of Brossard, but Wouter Popeliers lost 5 positions in one lap. Everyone here are so close together that losing one position means that there is coming not one driver, there is coming a train of drivers, and you are losing a lot of places on the track. Here is Emanuele Signorini with number 29, followed by Enrico Camarata with number 21, Ayrton Comi 25. This is Italian Championship now, fighting for 5th till 7, followed by Sylvain Brossard in go-kart number 7, Laura Veterova number 4, and Nicolas Schiffer number 20 completes the top 10. Here is the train of 8 cars. Only Tani Bodia has a little advantage of 2.5 seconds in front of everyone, but everybody else is chasing each other on the track. There are 5.5 minutes to go in this race, almost 10 minutes spent in this race already, and we are still fighting for almost each position on the track. Signorini chasing Herdy Fozzi for P4, Comi behind them, and Sylvain Brossard up to P7 after Enrico Camarata now is down in 12th. Signorini fought with Camarata. Now Signorini is 1 position up, but Camarata is 7 positions down. The next. So Camarata still on the track in his position, but he got a penalty of 3 seconds. And in this race, 3 seconds means 7 positions in the rankings. So Camarata is classified 12, but go-kart number 21, there he goes. He is still in front. He follows Signorini. He is in front of Ayrton Comi, in front of Sylvain Brossard, but that's only on the track. We see number 21 of Enrico Camarata still running in his position, but he is classified already in P12. So much means 3 seconds in this competition. You are either at the front of this train or at the very back of this train. Here are 3 seconds. We see them on the starting straight. 4 minutes left in this race. Tani Boria leading, Julien Bianchi second, 2.8 seconds between them. Balázs Zutz is third, 1.5 seconds behind Bianchi. Then Herdy Fozzi fighting with Emanuele Signorini, Ayrton Comi coming from behind, Sylvain Brossard and Laura Veterova, and completing the top 10 are Nicolas Schiffer and Patrick Prahoinig. Laura Veterova with the number 4, chased by Nicolas Schiffer. Here they going through the last corners of the lap. In front of this train is Julien Bianchi, then Balázs Zutz, Herdy Fozzi, Emanuele Signorini, Ayrton Comi, and Enrico Camarata fighting on the track. Does he know that he has a penalty? For number 21, Enrico Camarata, there is 3 seconds added to his race time, and in this competition it means 6 or 7 positions in the rankings. Fawaz Youssef setting the best sector times, chasing everyone now. He is losing only 2 seconds to Enrico Camarata. So Fawaz Youssef doesn't have to overtake Camarata on the track. He has to be closer than 3 seconds behind Camarata, and he will be classified in front of him. 2.5 minutes to go in this final. The next group of drivers already are taking their seats in the go-karts and are getting ready for next final. 6 more races to go today, and with each final we will see faster and faster drivers on the track. The best drivers from both heats combined will be on the track in the A final in the last race of this day. But now Tani Boria is leading the final group G. Julien Bianchi is second. Last 2 minutes in this race. Balázs Zutz from Hungary is in P3. Then Herdy Fozzi and Emanuele Signorini fighting for P4. Here comes second, Julien Bianchi. Then we have almost 2.5 seconds to wait for see Balázs Zutz on the starting straight. Here is Laura Veterova with number 4. Enrico Camarata and Patrick Prahoinig with Water Popeliers down the order. Now in a 10th, 11th and 12th places, Youssef Favas is chasing everybody now with a record lap time of 47.8. Jason Bourbon is out of the race after the first few laps, but Youssef Favas still has a chance to classify higher than 13 because it is important when we will count the both results of both days together. Then we will have a rating of the Saudi World Series E finals, both days combined. So every position counts. Even if you are not on the podium in your final, it will count for 2 days overall. So every position is worth to fight for. Enrico Camarata now down to P10. The only penalty so far for Enrico Camarata. He is still driving in front, but classified in P10. Patrick Prachoinig is behind him, and Wouter Popeliers on the track. He is in front, but everyone else is gaining, who is close enough to Camarata within 3 seconds. And Favas Youssef still has a chance to go. We have a final lap here. The checkered flag is prepared already, and Tani Boria, number 16, is coming to a win for the final of Group G today. Here is a go-kart number 16. The last corners of this lap for Tani Boria. Less than half lap till the finish line. 2 seconds advantage. Julien Bianchi improves at the end of the race, but it is not enough. It seems like pretty controlled race from Tani Boria. And one more corner, and here comes the winner. Tani Boria takes the win. Julien Bianchi is second. Balázs Zutz is third in the first final of this day here in Saudi World Series. Herdy Fozzi takes P4 in front of Emanuele Signorini. Sylvain Brossard in P6. Nicolas Schifferl in P7. Enrico Camarata down to P8. In front of Laura Veterova and Patrick Prachoinik. Wouter Popelier in P11, then Ayrton Komi and Favas Youssef. After the spin and at the second corner, Favas Youssef still 13th at the end of the race. All drivers returning to pit lane. We are getting ready for the next final. Here is the biggest crash of this race, and there the race was over for Favas Youssef. He set the best lap time of this race, but he has only P13. He had a great overtaking moves. Later on, we got penalty for Enrico Camarata. Everyone else went through clear and without any penalties from judges. Those are the highlights from this race. 6 great races ahead of us today in the first day of racing here at Saudi World Series E-Sprint Finals. The Group F are now preparing for their final race of this day, and with each next final we will see faster and faster drivers on the track according to the results of both heats combined. Bianchi and Fozzi Herdy, Emanuele Signorini, Sylvain Brossard. Great fight through the whole 15 minutes of this race. Here number 21 of Enrico Camarata. Higher on the track but lower in the rankings after 3 seconds penalty. The only one who got a penalty is Enrico Camarata. There were a lot of fight between them. So everyone else did it correctly, but already we have a next group of drivers on the track. We are getting ready for final Group F6 races coming. And in this group we will see on the track Jérôme Bianchi, Maylin Brossard, Sergio Chico González, Maxime Delmotte, Jamil Issa, Michel Isop, Jakub Jonas, Maxim Kuhn, Joni Lorenzi, Tero Mäkinen, Marko Miskic, Karl Skaini, Gary Su and Jim Snellman. And here they are taking their spots on the grid. It's Sergio Chico González from P1 in this final in a go-kart number 10. It's Gary Su in number 9, P2 on the grid. It's Maxim Kuhn in number 5, starting P3, and Karl Skaini in number 18 on the 4th on the grid. Outside of the second row, there is Jamil Issa from P5. There is Maxime Delmotte from P6, followed by Tero Mäkinen, Marko Miskic, Michel Isop, and Jim Snellman. Then Jonas, Bianchi, Brossard, and Lorenzi. Group F on the start and ready to race. Again, 14 drivers on the grid. We are ready to race again, waiting for the green flag at the start. The second group of drivers going through the 15 minutes of their final. González and Su from the first row, Kuhn and Skaini from second, and we go racing again. There comes Maxim Kuhn through the inside of the first corner. He is pushed outside on the second. There is huge crash after the second corner, and it seems like Jamil Issa has lost a lot of positions already after the start. Sergio Chico González, number 10, takes the great launch off the line. Maxim Kuhn up to P2 in front of Gary Sux. Also good start for Karl Skaini. Jamil Issa is behind. Then has Maxime Delmotte also gained a position on the start. The fight continues at this 180 degrees corner after the downhill. And first lap completed. González is leading. Kuhn up to second. Sux lost one position. Marko Miskic now is fourth. Karl Skaini in P5, followed by Tero Mäkinen, Maylin Brossard, and Jakub Jonas. But it's Jamil Issa lost everything at the start. someone tried too hard at the start. Maybe we will see some penalties a little bit later, but now Jamil Issa is only P13 behind Jerome Bianchi and Jim Snellman. Johnny Lorenzi is in P10, but Sergio Chico Gonzalez is leading this race with a 0.7 seconds advantage, the same distance between Maxim Kuhn and Gary Sooks in second and third place. Marko Miskic is fourth. After the first qualifying sessions, drivers will split into the groups with the most differences between their lap times. Now, here comes the finals, and we have grouped them with the same results during the first two heats. So the very, very competitive fights in the finals. The drivers with the similar lap times, drivers with a similar points scored during the first two heats and also first qualifying. Now they are racing and fighting for the first day's podiums here in Saudi World Series E-Sprint Final. Chico Gonzalez still leading, Kuhn second, Sooks third, Miskic in P4, then Skeini, Makinen, Brossard, Jonas, Isop and Lorenzi completing top 10. Lorenzi now sets the best time in the first sector of this race. Maxim Kuhn chasing Chico Gonzalez. Gonzalez in number 10, Kuhn in number 5. They have a small advantage, just 1 second in front of Gary Sooks, who is running third, then Marko Miskic, followed by Skeini, Makinen, Brossard, Jonas, Isop, Lorenzi, Snellman and Bianchi, all within less than second between them. And here fight continues uphill to the second level in this lap. 22 of Jakub Jonas, Michel Isop is right behind, then Johnny Lorenzi and Jim Snellman. The fight is on. Karl Skeini with number 12 in front of this group. Marko Miskic is also less than second in front of him. 11 minutes to go in this race, only 4 minutes spent on the track, and still within 1 second are top 3 drivers. Within 1 second are everyone from P4 to P12. Karl Skeini moves to P4 in front of Marko Miskic. 1 position lost for Miskic there. The fight continues. It's 28 from Maxim Delmotte. And here are the leaders. Sergio Chico Gonzalez with number 10 and Maxim Kuhn with number 5. 0.9 seconds behind them is Gary Su. Now all the top 3 drivers driving closer and closer together during this race. And here is the fight. It's 23 of Jim Snellman, 17 of Johnny Lorenzi and 22 of Jakub Jonas. They are fighting on the track, very small gaps between them. Here is Maxim Kuhn still chasing Sergio Chico Gonzalez. And now they are joined by Gary Sooks in third place. Then comes Karl Skeini in P4, but he's more than 1 second behind. Sergio Chico Gonzalez still leading the race, holding off all the actions from Maxim Kuhn. Karl Skeini sets best lap time of this race with 48.1 second. He is trying to catch the leaders, but the gap is quite big. Here goes to outside Jim Snellman in number 23. And when you have such a train of the cars, If you lose one position, it means it will be not enough. It will be not all. You will lose more because every other driver are coming as a train. And if there was space for one, there will be space for more. And you will lose more than one, more than two positions, and even 5 or 6 now. Jim Snellman is down to P11 out of top 10. In P10 now goes Michelle Isop, then in front of her is Joni Lorenzi, P9, 8th is Jakub Junas, Maylin Brossard, 7th, Tero Makinen, P6, Marko Miskic in P5, Karl Skaini now up to P4, then Gary Sooks, Maxim Kuhn and Sergio Chico Gonzalez fighting for the win. 8 minutes to go in this final. All three drivers behind each other. Gonzalez still leading. Maxim Kuhn behind him. We already saw a few times Kuhn showing signs to Gonzalez. Go faster, let's run away from Gary Su. But they do not succeed now. Gary Su is right behind there. Only 6/10 of a second behind Kuhn, and they are fighting for steps on the podium in final F. It's Chico Gonzalez still leading with number 10, Maxim Kuhn second in number 5, and Gary Su is right behind them. Maxime Delmotte with the fastest lap time of 48.0, almost half a second slower are going all the leaders, starting with Gonzalez, Kuhn and Sooks. That's not a surprise that Gary Sooks came closer to the first two drivers. It seems like Gonzalez is going slower and slower during this race. His best lap time is 48.2, and now he is running 48.5. Oh! And as maybe he was watching back, maybe he heard how close is everyone else, and now he goes almost as fast as his best lap time in this race. In lap number 10, Sergio Chico Gonzalez goes 48.2, but still there is only 0.3 of a second. Maxim Kuhn behind him, 0.7 is Gary Su, less than 1 second between top three drivers, and 6.5 minutes left in this race. Still, Sooks and Skaini both are driving faster than Gonzalez and Kuhn in front. And if they continue at this pace at the last laps of the race, we will have a train of 4 best drivers, of 4 fastest drivers here fighting for the places on the podium. Gonzalez looking back at the straights. How far is Maxim Kuhn? Kuhn is really close, and he is close the whole race. Almost 10 minutes already. Kuhn would be happy at first to run away from Gary Su in a go-kart number 9, but they are losing time and Su is closing in. Also, Karl Skaini is trying to join this party here with number 12 on his car. Top 4 drivers now separated by 1.8 seconds, and top 3 drivers separated by 0.9. Very, very close racing at the front. Here Tero Makinen and Maylin Brossard fighting for P6. And then Jakub Junas, Michelle Isop up to P9 in front of Joni Lorenzi. Lorenzi now is running 10th, and the fight continues. Lorenzi trying to get back to Michelle Isop. Maxime Delmotte lost position. They are still fighting there, but Chico Gonzalez, Kuhn and Sooks still within 1 second. All 3 drivers at the front. Karl Skaini trying to join this fight for the podium steps in a final F in the first day of racing. And also a very, very hard fight for the positions from 8th till 13th. Tero Makinen and Maylin Brossard fighting for P6. And those are number 2 and number 27. Maxime Delmotte up to P10 in front of Joni Lorenzi. Chico Gonzalez, Maxim Kuhn and Gary Suk still running within 1 second, 1.5 seconds till Karl Skeini, 4th place. We have 4 leaders in 1.5 seconds approaching the last 4 minutes in this race. Here is Chico Gonzalez with number 10, Kuhn with number 5. Bumper to bumper all race long, starting from the first lap and already 14 laps completed. Maxim Kuhn is really close behind Gonzalez. He has not tried to overtake him yet. It seems like he needs a gap behind him to take this risk and try to overtake Gonzalez. Sux is too close behind, only 0.6 of a second behind Kuhn and 0.9 behind Gonzalez. Karl Skeini also closing in. Here are the leading group of drivers. 1.5 seconds from first to fourth and 3 minutes remaining. Leading group of drivers, Gonzalez in front and Kuhn, Sux and Skeini. Marko Miskic now driving alone in P5 with number 18. Tero Makinen and Mylin Brassard fighting for P6 and P7. 8 is Jakub Jonas, followed by Michel Isop and Maxime Delmotte. Closer and closer comes Maxim Kuhn. There is no gap between him and Sergio Chico Gonzalez. Will he try to make a move? Will he try to overtake? Kuhn looks back. He sees how close is Gary Su. If you go off the line in this situation, it means that Sux and Skeini both will overtake Maxim Kuhn if he makes any mistake trying to overtake Chico Gonzalez. 4 cars train completing lap number 16 and 2 minutes to go in this race. There comes Marko Miskic with number 18, only 5th place in the race, followed by Tero Makinen and Mylin Brassard still fighting for P6. Can he make a move? Can he pull the win in this race? Maxim Kuhn is only a few centimeters behind Sergio Chico Gonzalez, but so it is from the start for more than 13 minutes already, more than 16 laps, and there is a crash. They go out, both of them. Kuhn is down to third, Sux and Skeini both go past, and Chico Gonzalez has lost the lead and now is down to P4 or maybe even more. We have a new leader in this race. Gary Sux is first. Karl Skeini up to P2, then Maxim Kuhn and Marko Miskic. Sergio Chico Gonzalez has lost 4 positions and now is only 5th, 1 minute before the end of the race. Unfortunate overtaking move for Maxim Kuhn. We got a warning for Maxime Delmotte, but that's not for the fight of the first positions in this race. Gary Sux and Karl Skeini coming to the end of this race in the first positions. Marko Miskic in front of Maxim Kuhn. Miskic third. Kuhn ran the whole race in second place and now is missing the podium by 1 position. We are into the final lap of this race. Sux leading, Skeini second, Miskic third, and Maxim Kuhn in P4, just outside the podium in this final. But the race is still on. Gary Sux with number 9 is leading. Karl Skeini is trying to go inside. No place here, no gap there. He is defending his position. Gary Su, less than half a lap till the finish of this race. We are going through the final lap. Here it went off the line in a previous lap. Now Skeini and Sux going through those corners without attempt of overtaking, and Gary Su through the last corner of the race takes the win of Group F in a final race. For this group in this day, Gary Su is first, Karl Skeini second, Marko Miskic takes third step on the podium, and Maxim Kuhn just outside the podium over the finish line in P4. Sergio Gonzalez leading whole race, and in a penultimate lap he is off to P5. Then Tero Mäkinen in front of Mylene Brassard, Jakub Jonas P8, Joni Lorenzi P9, and Maxime Delmotte completing top 10 in this race. It's Jim Snellman after top 10, then Jérôme Bianchi, Jamil Issa and Michel Isop. Unpredictable results of Group F in a first final, in a first day of racing. Sergio Chico Gonzalez leading almost whole race and coming to the finish line only in P5. Maxim Kuhn, the whole race was in second place and now is missing the podium. And in the top three positions are Marko Miskic, Karl Skeini and Gary Su takes the win. It started with a few crashes and a lot of gestures through the first two corners of this race. Unfortunate start for Maxime Delmotte, but from last, after first corner, he went up to P10 at the end of the race. Here is Jakub Jonas with number 22, fighting hard. Also Jim Snellman with 23, a very, very busy race for him with a lot of overtakes. But those were the leaders for the whole race. Sergio Chico Gonzalez with number 10 and Maxim Kuhn with number 5. But everything went off the line in a penultimate lap. Here is still fighting Jim Snellman. He had a lot to do in this race but finished only in P11 at the end of those 15 minutes on the track. And we had to wait for 2 laps before the finish line for changes between the leaders. There were Gonzalez leading, Kuhn behind him, then Sux and Skeini closing in, and here it started. Went to the inside, Maxim Kuhn both went to the outside of the corner, lost their lines and lost their positions. Sux and Skeini went through, Marko Miskic went through, Kuhn came home 4th and Sergio Gonzalez only 5th. We are ready for the next race. It's Group A, proceeding to the grid now. Here are Matthew Otessier, Patrick Bonomi, Raphael Bro, Nino Bray, Olli Herko, Yeng Yu Ko, Thomas Konsa, Marco Massoli, Julien Misler, Mirko Pascaletti goes to P1 on the grid. Alexander Peifea, Ville Belento, Yanis Vey and Antoine Weiss in Group E final. And we are back on the grid. There is a P1 for Mirko Pascaletti. Besides him on the first row on the grid is Matthew Otessier with the go-kart number 25. Then from the second row, Alexander Payfair with number 8 and Julien Misler with number 7. Then Raphael Bro in number 26 from third row on the grid from inside. Third row outside for Yanis Vey in number 4. Then Ville Vilento and Thomas Konsa forming fourth row on the grid with 21 and 19. Yang Yu Ku with number 20 on fifth row on the grid. Together with him from the outside starting Olli Horko, then Nino Bray, Antoine Wies, Patrick Bonomi and Marco Massoli ready to race. Five races to go, 5 finals to go here at Saudi World Series E-Sprint. First day of racing coming to an end, and we are ready to race for Group E final. Faster and faster drivers getting on the track in the finals. It's Pascaletti from the inside. There is a crash and fight for a second place. There comes up from the second row on the grid to the third position during the first corner, and there is a huge crash in the third corner going up. There are 5 cars stuck there. Now they are going on, but everything is lost for them. Everything is lost in a third corner. How did they manage to crash there uphill when the speed is the lowest, when the go-karts are going slow up and then gaining the speed going down, but somehow we had 5 cars stuck in one corner, and now Mirko Pascaletti leading. Thomas Konsa was one of the first out of this crash in the second corner, but here are 4 leaders completing the lap. It's Mirko Pascaletti, Matthew Ottesier in second, Julien Misle up to P3 and Alexander Peyfer in P4, Ville Vilento followed by Raphael Bro, then Yanis Vey and Yang Yu Ko, also Patrick Bonomi and Thomas Konsa, Marco Massoli, Antoine Wies and Nino Bray are the ones who lost the most in the crash at third corner. And so far we have no particular driver, but we have start of the race under investigation. So maybe there will be some changes, maybe there will be some penalties, but now Pascaletti, Ottesier, Misla and Peifa are running quite close together at the front within 1 second. Top 4 drivers, then after 1 second comes Ville Vilento in P5. Now only 7/10 behind is Raphael Bro in P6 and Yanis Vale in P7. Olli Horko also survived the crash in the third corner, now setting the fastest lap time. Even faster goes Pascaletti, then Mathieu Ottesier. The second place driver now has a best lap time of 48.2 seconds. But there is no way to go for him, only 4/10 of a second. In front of him is Mirko Pascaletti. It's kart number 16. Here comes Mathieu Ottesier with 25, followed by Julien Misler with number 7, and then Alexander Peyfer with number 4. 1.2 seconds between first and fourth positions, and 2 seconds between top 5 drivers. One more lap completed. First 3 minutes spent on the track. 12 to go. Pascaletti leading. New lap record in this race, 48.2 seconds, but almost the same lap time for Mathieu Ottesier. 0.5 seconds between the leaders. The same distance behind is Julien Misler. Then Alexander Peyfer in P4 and Ville Vilento in P5. Everyone within 1 second. After the leading driver, then comes Raphael Bro, Yanis Vey, Yang Yu Ko, fighting for P6, P7 and P8. Ninth is Patrick Bonomi fighting with Olli Horko. They are very close on the track now, only 4/10 of a second separating them. And then Thomas Konsa and Marco Massoli, the drivers who survived the crash after the start uphill in the third corner, now fighting for P11 and P12. Matthew Otesier, Pascaletti and Missler. It seems like Mirko Pascaletti is getting advantage. He is pulling away from Otesier. It is still less than a second, but anyway, it already seems big gap considering the other gaps on the track. Julien Missler is really close behind Otesier. There are only 2/10, but here we see already the gap between Mirko Pascaletti and Matthew Otesier. Mirko Pascaletti is pulling away with 48.2 and Matthew Otesier with 48.6 is falling back in the clutches of Julien Missler. There is going on a fight for the second place. Also very close is Alexander Peyfer and Ville Vilento. It's Julien Missler with number 7 and he is in front. Julien Missler moves up to P2. The Matthew Otesier now down to P3 in front of Alexander Peyfer and Ville Vilento. Mirko Pascaletti pulled away in just the right moment. The fight began right behind him. Now he's getting even more advantage of this fight behind him, and Mirko Pascaletti is leading the race 1.6 seconds in front of Julien Missler. They have lost a very small amount of time fighting for second, Missler and Otesier, but anyway, it's 1.6. Now Mirko Pascaletti is in front, and so big gap has not been in this race during first 6 minutes. Now 9 minutes till the end. Still a lot of work to do, a lot of laps to go in this race. Pascaletti is leading. He set the best lap time so far with 48.1. Julien Missler got in front of Otesier and now is setting records in separate sectors on the track. We just saw Thomas Konsa in number 19, Marco Massoli behind him fighting for 11th place. Here they are coming. Konsa with number 19, Marco Massoli number 11. In front of them are Olli Horko and Patrick Bonomi. Eight minutes to go. Otesier lost second place and now is chased by Peyfer and Vilento. Julien Missler up to P2. And also closing on Mirko Pascaletti. The previous lap time was best for Mirko Pascaletti. Now even faster goes Julien Missler. As soon as the track in front is free, Julien Missler is going faster and faster, and now with 47.999 seconds, the fight for the lead is on again. It's Alexander Peyfer moving in front of Mathieu Otesier. Lost second position, already lost third. Otesier is falling down the order. But here is number 25 of Mathieu Otesier, and already Ville Vilento is joining him there. There is a less than second between them. One more position lost for Mathieu Otesier. Is Ville Vilento fast enough to go up to P4? Now we have top three, very different from the beginning of the race. Julien Missler is moved up to P2. Alexander Peyfer up to P3. Mathieu Otesier is fourth at the end of this lap, and Ville Vilento is less than second behind in P5. Then Yanis Vale second further back. Raphael Bro and Yeng Yu Ko in 7th and 8th positions, and then Patrick Bonomi, P9. Thomas Konsa moves in front of Olli Horko. Up to P10 goes Thomas Konsa after unfortunate start and crash in third corner. Thomas Konsa now is back in top 10. Number 4 for Yannis Vale, then a small gap and followed by Raphael Bro, Yengyu Ko, Patrick Bonomi and Thomas Konsa. One more lap completed for Mirko Pascaletti, and Julien Miesler is already within 1 second behind. Fight for the lead is on. Last 6 minutes of this race. Here Matthew Otesier with number 25 is chased by Vilento Ville in 21. They are fighting for P4. Now Otesier was second at the beginning of the race and now is down the order. Here they are. P4 Otesier in 25, P5 for Vilento in 21. Everyone else is in front have improved their lap times. Matthew Otesier is still, his best is 48.2 and is unable to improve. Vilento Ville almost the same best lap time, but now seems that he is faster. We see Raphael Bro and Yengyu Ko with a 26 and 20. But Julien Miesler, one more record fast lap time, 47.8. And from more than 1.5 second gap, Julien Miesler has reduced it to only 7/10 of a second, and we have a fight for the lead starting just now. Here also Matthew Otesier and Vilento Ville, Raphael Bro and Yengyu Ko still fighting on the track for last 4.5 minutes in this race. It's Raphael Bro and Yengyu Ko with a 26 and 20. Going up through the third corner. 0.6 between Pascaletti and Miesler. Fight for the lead has started. Pascaletti still leading. 4 minutes to go in this race. Antoine Wyss and Nino Bray are far behind. Here is Yengyu Ko in number 20. Trying to get in front of Raphael Bro just before Patrick Bonomi and Thomas Konsa are arriving from behind. Here are the train of 4 cars again. In front is Raphael Bro, then Yengyu Ko, Patrick Bonomi and Thomas Konsa. Closer and closer within a little bit more than 1 second. Here they are up to third corner going full throttle downhill. But Pascaletti and Miesler now are only 1.5 seconds between. Vilento Ville in front of Matthew Otesier. Otesier now in 5th place. Yannis Vale is closing in, only a little bit more than 1 second between Otesier and Vale. Will Otesier lose one more position from P2 down to P5 already? We still have 3 minutes to go. And here is Raphael Bro, Yengyu Ko, Patrick Bonomi and Thomas Konsa. And trying to go inside in the first corner, Patrick Bonomi. He does not succeed. Bonomi still in P9. Yengyu Ko maintains his 8th position on the track. Thomas Konsa is really close, but was not able to gain a position after this fight on the track right in front of him. And there are coming also Olli Hurko, Marco Massoli and Antoine Wyss. The fight for the lead is on, and the fight for the places even outside top 10 is on. 2 minutes left in this race. Mirko Pascaletti leading, and only 4/10 of a second behind is Julien Miesler. It's number 4 of Yannis Vale, currently running 6th. Then comes Raphael Bro and Yengyu Ko, followed by Bonomi and Konsa. The fight is on. Konsa is following Patrick Bonomi after unsuccessful overtaking move from Bonomi. Now Yengyu Ko has run away, and Bonomi is fighting with Konsa for P9. But between Pascaletti and Julien Miesler, there is only 0.4 seconds. Here they are. Pascaletti number 16. Missler number 7 fighting for the win. It's 1.5 minutes till the end and goes inside on the last corner. Inside in the first and... No, does not succeed. Julian Missler, it was so close. So good exit from the last corner. Already side by side through the starting straight, and after first 2 corners, Mirko Pascaletti is still in the lead. The very fast laps from Julian Missler. Also improving his lap times is Mirko Pascaletti. They are going faster and faster and fighting each other the last minute of this race. Only a few laps before the finish, Julian Missler catched Mirko Pascaletti and started to fight. There is a very small amount of time left. We are going to the last lap of this race, final lap of this race. Pascaletti is still leading on the starting straight. This time Missler is not so close to fight and showing some gestures going downhill. There is a full throttle and you can just wait for the next corner. Still in front is Mirko Pascaletti. Faster is Julian Missler, but is not able to get in front. It is hard to overtake on this track. Very great move there was from Julian Missler, but unfortunately did not succeed. Very close it was. They were side by side through the first corner, side by side through the second, and then up to the hill again. In the front, Mirko Pascaletti, and after the fight in penultimate lap, Mirko Pascaletti still takes the win in this race, followed by Julian Missler in second, Alexander Pfeiffer in third. Yanis Vale moves up to fourth in front of Ville Vilento. P5 for Vilento. Then Matthew Otesier is only sixth at the finish line. Started second behind Pascaletti, and checkered flag only in sixth position for Matthew Otesier. Then Raphael Bro in P7, Yengyu Ko in P8. 9th for Bonomi, 10th for Konsa, Antoine V in P11, 12th is Marco Massali, then Olli Horko and Nino Bray. What a great race we just had here for Group E. We still have 4 races to go today, then we will start the first podiums of Saudi World Series E-Sprint Finals here in Wavre. Still Group D, Group C, Group B and Group A drivers getting ready for their final laps and for their first podiums of 2 days of racing here. Highlights of this race once again: a huge crash. Konsa got turned over and then a hard crash. Someone just crashed in the side of his car. There were 5 drivers left standing still in a third corner and then started to chase everyone else from the back. Mirko Pascaletti led from the first lap. Matthew Otesier was right behind in second, but then started to lose positions for Julian Missler. At first, then came Pfeiffer, then Vale, then Vilento, and at the finish line, Matthew Otesier was only sixth. Now there already is a queue at the pit line exit waiting for a green light to come on. We see Alexander Pfeiffer going in front of Matthew Otesier. Getting slower and slower to the end of the race was Matthew Otesier. After Pfeiffer it was Vale, then Vilento got in front. We still were fighting for the win. In penultimate lap, Julian Missler got side by side with Pascaletti. Side by side through the first corner, but on the second corner Pascaletti got inside again and maintained his lead. Now it is Group D on the track. There are Gianni Arcieri, Natalia Astalosova, Jérôme Choquet, Igor Dibash, Thibaut Leon Dupin, Emilian Guichon, Mars Liepinch, René Lutzenkirchen, Sasha Mabion, Martin Papan, Roni Rautala, Mika Snellman, Harri Suoninen and Morgan Tevena. And here they are coming to the starting grid of this race. Group D getting ready for their final. From pole position, it's Mika Snellman. Second on the grid is Emilian Guichon. Then from third place, René Lutzenkirchen. It's P4 for Martin Papan and P5 for Igor Dibash. Then Mars Liepinch starting from P6. Seventh on the grid is Timoleon Dupin. Then Jérôme Choquet from 8th. P9 for Roni Rautala. P10 Natalia Astalosova. Then 11th on the grid is Sasha Mabio. 12th Harri Suoninen. And last row on the starting grid, Morgan Tevena and Gianni Arcieri. Fourteen cars on the grid, faster and faster drivers approaching their finals. In this day here in Saudi World Series, green flag is ready, everything is set, the grid is ready, and we are ready to race again. This is a Group D, a fourth fastest group of racing through the first corner, and we have a lot of crashes already in a second corner. There goes outside the first corner, it is René Lutzenkirchen. His 28 is stuck at the outside of the second corner. It is Harri Suoninen leading the race after the stellar start for Suoninen. He was 12th on the grid. Who could imagine that? Mika Snellman. No, after the first sector, Snellman is leading. Then Guichon a second. Suoninen is with his number 2 on his go-kart is further down the order. Mika Snellman is leading. René Lutzenkirchen has lost everything in the second corner. Also, it is Mars Liepinch down the order and Natalia Astalosova. Those three drivers have lost at the start. Mika Snellman is still leading. Gianni Arcieri from last spot on the grid from P14. Arcieri now is running second behind Mika Snellman. Absolutely fantastic start for Gianni Arcieri. He was not so fast during the qualifying, but he gained a lot of positions during first heat. He drove very well second heat, getting second place on the finish line, and now from the last spot on the grid, Arcieri is second behind Mika Snellman. Emilien Gouchon is third, Igor Dibash in P4, Emilien Dupin in P5, then Jérôme Choquet in P6, 7th is Suoninen, 8th is Rautala, 9th is Mabio, 10th is Morgat Tevenach, who also was on the last row on the grid and now is up to P10, but absolutely fantastic start, the most positions gained in the whole day here in the Saudi World Series E-Finals, and he goes inside after the downhill. It's Gianni Arcieri. He makes the move already in the first laps of this race. What a race for Gianni Arcieri. Now he is leading. Mika Snellman is second. It seems almost like Arcieri got Snellman snoozing down there in the corner after the downhill. Now Arcieri is looking back. Snellman is pushing him downhill. On the next lap, the fight is still on. Snellman is second, Emilien Gouchon is third, but Gianni Arcieri is leading the race. Who could predict that? After first 3 laps, Gianni Arcieri, who was last on the grid, starting 14th, now is leading the race. Snellman is really close behind, also Emilien Gouchon. They have 7/10 of a second separating first and third. 1.5 seconds for Igor Dibash in P4. Still the fight is on. That was one wonderful overtaking move from Gianni Arcieri. Also no news from the stewards, so it seems everything was okay also by their measures. And Arcieri is pulling away already. 0.7 seconds is the lead of Gianni Arcieri. .4 between Snellman and Gouchon, fighting for the second. At how far can go Gianni Arcieri? Now he is leading, trying to pull away. 1/10 of a second in the first sector, 600ths in a second, a few hundreds then more. And here Roni Rautala and Sasha Mabio, 22 and 9, fighting for a P8 on the track. And that is something unbelievable. Gianni Arcieri is leading the race, and the driver from United States came here to Belgium for Saudi World Series E-Sprint Finals. Not so fast through the morning's qualifying, but he is learning this track and adapting to this track quite fast and better than anyone else. Already Gianni Arcieri is leading. He is a 5-time track champion at Grand Prix New York Indoor Go-Kart Track and RPM Raceway, Stamford City. And he just like how intense it can be out there in the karting, and it cannot be much more intense than it is for Gianni Arcieri, starting P14 and leading the race just after 3 laps. Almost 10 minutes left to go. 0.7 seconds is advantage of Gianni Arcieri. The fight is still on. He got in front of Mika Snellman, but Snellman is still too close behind. The fight is not over, and maybe Snellman can do something in 9.5 minutes that we have till the finish of this race. Arcieri is leading, Snellman second, Gouchon third. There is only 0.3 of a second between them, and it seems like Mika Snellman is busy fighting with Emilien Gouchon and has no time to think about Gianni Arcieri, who is pulling away from 0.7 now to 1.1 seconds already. That is very, very close to comfortable gap in the front. Will Gianni Arcieri take the win from the last spot on the grid? That would be the biggest progress in all the races today, from last to the first. That is something you almost never see in rental karts, in a leisure karting competition. The lap times are so close, the drivers are so skilled that go from last to first. That is something unbelievable. Gianni Arcieri is leading 1.3 seconds in his gap to Mika Snellman. Snellman still fighting with Emilien Gouchon. Here they are, 24 for Snellman, 32 for Gouchon. And Gouchon aims to the inside of the corner, but is still a little bit too far behind. There also is approaching Igor Dibash. He is in P4 now. But he's closing the gap to Gouchon, and we have three drivers fighting for the podium spots: Mika Snellman, Emilien Gouchon, and Igor Dibash. And one more lap completed, 1.3 before, 1.2 now. Gianni Arcieri is not pulling away further than a little bit more than 1 second. Snellman, Gouchon, and Dibash still fighting each other and a little bit closing in on Gianni Arcieri. The half of the race already spent on the track. 24 of Mika Snellman in P2 now, 32 of Emilien Gouchon in P3. Fourth is Igor Dibash with number 23. And here is Gianni Arcieri in number 12 leading the race. Sasha Mabiot just set the best lap time of this race with 47.8 seconds. And here the fight is on. Sasha Mabiot goes side by side with Roni Rautala. Martin Papan is also very close. Then Suoninen. Three drivers fighting, and Roni Rautala up to P7, followed by Sasha Mabion, and both of them are in front of Harri Suoninen after this short fight. But Snellman still driving second in front of Gouchon and Dibash. Two laps before, 1.4 a lap before, and now it's more than 1.5 seconds. That is the advantage of Gianni Arcieri. His lap time is 2 tenths faster than Mika Snellman and Emilien Gouchon are clocking now. Arcieri is 1.5 in front, but here are fighting for the second place, for the third and for the fourth. Fighting for the steps on the podium in Group D are Mika Snellman in P2, Emilien Gouchon in P3, and Igor Dibash in P4. Then 2 seconds till Timoleon Dupin's P5. He is chased by Jérôme Choquet, then Roni Rautala, Harri Suoninen, and Martin Papan with Morgan Tevena completing the top 10 in this race. 5 minutes to go, 1.7 seconds for Gianni Arcieri in front. Only 3 tenths between Snellman and Gouchon. Also 9 tenths further is Igor Dibash. Still very, very close, but still not close enough to fight with Gouchon and Snellman. Dibash is just a few meters behind them. But here is the leader, Gianni Arcieri, number 12. From last on the grid to the first on the race. And here comes Gianni Arcieri with a new best lap time of this race with 47.6, pulling away from everyone else for whole 2 seconds already. 2.1 is the gap behind Gianni Arcieri. Mika Snellman still fighting with Emilien Gouchon. Igor Dibash is close, but not enough to join this fight. He's following closely after Snellman and Gouchon. There are 4 minutes left on this race. 11 already spent on the track. Arcieri is pulling away 2.1 seconds. That is a very, very comfortable gap at the front already. But here are fight for the second between Mika Snellman and Emilien Gouchon. Gianni Arcieri now is driving alone in front, 2.1 seconds in front of everyone. This lap starting with a new record in the first sector. Arcieri is improving his lap times, going faster and faster, pulling away from everyone else. Maybe he does not need it, but he is adapting to this track. He is getting better and better with each session, and with almost every lap he is on the track, starting from the qualifying, from the first heat, second heat, and now he is improving even more. But we are watching fight for the second place. Going tight in the first corner is Mika Snellman, defending his position in front of Emilian Guchon. That allows Igor Dibash to close on this fight, but number 12, Gianni Arcieri, is leading by 2.5 seconds already. 2.5 minutes till the end of this race. Arcieri is pulling away. Snellman, Guchon and Dibash are left to fight for the remaining steps of the podium. Snellman still second in his number 24. Guchon right behind, and Igor Dibash finally has joined this party. There are three drivers very, very close after each other. Still a little bit bigger gap between Dibash and Guchon. But anyway, the fight for the podium is on. Here the last 2 minutes. Gianni Arcieri at the front, 2.6 seconds is his lead in P1. Then Mika Snellman, number 24, still chased by Emilian Guchon and Igor Dibash. 1.5 minutes to go. Can anyone here pull some overtaking moves? No one is even trying so far. Maybe we are waiting for the last lap. The gaps are close enough to do something for Emilian Guchon and Igor Dibash. Mika Snellman has been second in front of them the whole race after the third lap when Arcieri took the lead. Now it is Guchon who is defensive going into the first corner. A little bit more than 1 minute till the end of the race. It means 2 laps till the finish line. Snellman still fighting second. Here is 24 of Snellman, 32 of Guchon and 23 of Dibash. And almost 3 seconds advantage for Gianni Arcieri at the front. There is Sasha Mabillot going slow. No, he's not going slow, but he has lost a lot of time, and now he just set the best lap time. So Sasha Mabillot is fast, but he has lost almost a lap to the leader, and Gianni Arcieri is approaching. Gianni Arcieri has a 2.7 seconds advantage over Mika Snellman. He does not need to fight with Mabillot. Mabillot is last in a P14. Tevena goes down. Harri Suoninen is now in P4, but that means Morgan Tevena has got a penalty, and a huge one. Illegal overtake and causing a collision, so it is 5 seconds for Morgan Tevena. He is still in the same position on the track, 2 positions higher, but he is classified in P10. So Harri Suoninen and Martin Papan are going up to P8 and P9, but we have absolutely fantastic race in front for Gianni Arcieri from last on the grid. Arcieri goes first in this final. Mika Snellman holds his second place. Emilian Guchon is third, and Hugo Dibash just missed the podium in P4. Then Timo Leon Dupin, Jérôme Choquet, Roni Rautala, Harri Suoninen, Martin Papan, Morgan Tevena with a 5-second penalty, now classified 10th, in front of Natalia Astlosova, Mars Liepinch, René Lutzenkirchen and Sasha Mabillot. And this was absolutely unbelievable race for Gianni Arcieri, and actually for everyone else. No one could imagine that here in Saudi World Series you can go from last on the grid to the first over the finish line, and even in the first 3 laps there was so much going on through the first corner, through the second. The 3 cars are standing still in the second corner. Here everything lost Sasha Mabio, and with the fastest lap of the race he is still last, and P14. It was a great fight for Sasha Mabio at the beginning of the race, and then he lost everything. Lutzenkirchen is 13th. Mars Liepinch also suffered from the crashes at the start, but in the third lap of the race, Gianni Accieri took the lead in front of Mika Snellman and started to pull away. Snellman was left with Emilien Gouchon fighting for second. Then they were joined by Igor Dibash, but no one could get the positions on the track. It's Ronny Rautala who moved up to P7. And the fight is still on. Rautala with Sasha Mabio, but at the end of the race, Mabio is last in P14. Most unpredictable race today. What we will see in the last 3 finals. Faster and faster drivers approaching the track now, but this is Gianni Accieri, driver from USA, participating in Saudi World Series E-Final and going from P14 on the grid to P1 over the finish line. Congratulations also from Nick Snellman. And we are waiting for next final to start.
Eu tenho uma bordinha mais larga.
Three fastest groups of drivers still waiting for their finals. The Group C now at the exit of the pit line. It's P1 for Francisco Gelstein. It's P2 for Matteo Grappolini. Third on the grid is Julien Pascal. P4 for this final is Philippe Mattea. Starting from fifth, Kyle Volkart. P6 on the grid. for Massimo Criscolo, 7th Florian Kole, 8th Albert Ingo, 9th Edis Malinovskis, P10 Jesse Nissinen, 11th on the grid Golendi Dionysis, 12th Artur Piette, number 13 on the grid for Alexander Lutzenkirchen, and last in the final group C is Anthony Bourgeois getting ready for their most important race of this day. We are going through the finals and faster drivers coming onto the track. Already 4 finals behind us and 3 still left. Now Group C at the exit of the pit line, waiting for the light to go green and go for the formation lap on the track. Florian Collet in his go-kart number 7, waiting at the exit of the pit lane. He has only 7th spot on the grid. And now we are waiting for formation lap here in Saudi World Series. It's a Group C drivers. We have 14 drivers in each final. That means here are drivers starting from 29th according to both results in previous heats today. And the light goes green, the pit lane is open. 14 fast and competitive drivers are going out to the track for formation lap before C final here in Wavre. We have already seen so much great and absolutely unpredictable racing on the track in previous 4 finals. Now Group C through the formation lap and waiting for the orders from stewards. Getting their starting positions. It is Francisco Gelstein going to the P1 on the grid. On the first row also Matteo Grappolini. Grappolini starting second with the number 13. And what a race to the starting grid. It is Massimo Criscolo who crashes in the back of Philippe Mattea. Somehow managed to get so much speed during the one corner at the end of the lap, so was not able to stop on his starting grid and crashed into back of Philippe Mattea. And it seems like there are again some mishaps at the start. It's Grappolini and Gelstein. And also Mattea and Pascal switched. No, there is a Criscolo in 26 in his correct starting position, but Philippe Mattea with number 4 should be on the outside of the second row, not on the inside. And also Francisco Gelstein and Matteo Grappolini on the first row. Now Gelstein is on inside. No, Grappolini has parked his car on the inside on the P1, and Francisco Gelstein with number 13 is on outside in first row. And so we are ready to race, and we go green here in Wavre Finals. He has started. Fight for the lead through the first corner, then uphill to the third. This time we go almost without crashes through the first corner. It's Francisco Gelstein, Matteo Grappolini fighting for the lead. Julian Pascal and Philippe Mattea following. It's Grappolini taking the lead after the first corners. Also here is Edis Malinowskis side by side with Jesse Nissinen. Nissinen stays outside and Malinowskis goes through up to P9 now. And leading the race is Matteo Grappolini, followed by Francesco Gelstein and Philippe Mattea, also up to P3 now. This is the end of the first lap. Matteo Grappolini in front of Francisco Gelstein. Philippe Mattea, Massimo Criscolo and Kyle Volkerts got in front of Julian Pascal. Pascal now down to P6. Then Florian Collet and Albert Ingo. P9 for Glendy Dionysis. Edis Malinowskis back to P10 in front of Artur Piette and Jesse Nissinen. After a fight with Malinowskis, Nissinen has lost even more positions. Here we see Florian Collet with number 7 trying to dive inside of Julian Pascal. Number 13, it's Francisco Gelstein. Number 16 for Matteo Grappolini. They are coming to the end of the next lap. This is final for Group C, and Gelstein is back in front. It took less than 2 laps to be back at the P1 for Francisco Gelstein. Matteo Grappolini took the lead at the start, but now is back to P2. Philippe Mattea got to the top 3 at the start and now is driving there. Massimo Criscolo in P4, followed by Kyle Volkert, Julian Pascal, Florian Collet and Ingo Albert. Edis Malinowskis losing the places during this lap, now down to 13th. Artur Piette, Jesse Nissinen and Anthony Bourgeois, everyone gets in front. And Francisco Gelstein is leading the race, got a new lap record of 47.9. He has a gap of 0.6 seconds. The same gap is between Grappolini and Mattea in second and third. It's Julian Pascal with number 29, currently running 6th in between the train of the 5 cars, starting with Massimo Criscolo, Kyle Volkerts, then Pascal, Collet and Albert Ingo. One more best lap for Francisco Gelstein. One more tenth of a second in front of Matteo Grappolini. 0.7 now. Here is Massimo Criscolo with 26, followed by Kyle Volkart in number 8. This is a fight for a P4, but top 3 drivers are more than second in front already. It's Philip Mattea now running third, Matteo Grappolini second, and Francisco Gelstein first. One more lap and one more lap record for Francisco Gelstein. Grappolini has lost already more than 1 second to him. 1.5 seconds between Grappolini and third placed Philip Mattea. Francisco Gelstein still clocking the best lap times of the race, going faster and faster. 1.1 is the gap right now between Gelstein and Grappolini. One more lap and 4 more tenths gained for Francisco Gelstein. It's 1.5 already. Also, Grappolini is pulling away from Philip Mattea. Top 3 drivers with a bigger and bigger gaps between them, but behind Mattea there is closing on Massimo Criscolo, and here is starting the fight for the final step on the podium in Group C. Philip Mattea with number 4, Massimo Criscolo with number 26, Kyle Volkart with number 8. Here they are, Volkart's very, very close behind Criscolo. Philip Mattea still has 0.7 seconds advantage in front of them. Here is the fight for the P3 in this race. Then it is P6 for Julien Pascal, and he is chased by Albert Ingo, Florian Collet and Glendy Dionysis. Artur Piette up to P10. And there is penalty for Edis Malinowskis for pushing at turn 7. So Malinowskis is 2 positions higher up on the track, but is classified only 13th with 3 seconds added to his race time. Kyle Volkart in number 8, chasing Massimo Criscolo. They are closing in on Mattea Philip, fighting for the final step on the podium. Almost half of the race already spent on the track. There are 8 minutes left for racing, and those 3 fighting for the final step of the podium. Philip Mattea with number 4, Massimo Criscolo with number 26, and Kyle Volkart with number 8. Here they come through the last corners of this lap, and then the train of 5 cars: Pascal, Ingo, Collet, Dionysis and Piette. And there is a fight uphill through the third corner. Does Kyle Volkart just moved up in P4 in front of Massimo Criscolo? Here he comes, number 8, now just behind 4 of Philip Mattea. Now it is Kyle Volkart who is fighting for a step on the podium. Philip Mattea still holding third, but Volkart's already moved 1 place up. There are coming Pascal, Ingo, Collet, Dionysis and Piette. Can they join this fight between Mattea, Volkart and Criscolo? And they have joined already. We have a train of a car starting with third and ending with P12. Goes outside Glendy Dionysis and almost gets airborne, going uphill to the third corner. Volkart's up to fourth. Piette, Nissinen, Bourgeois fighting further back. Gelstein maintaining his lead, increasing to almost 3 seconds already. Mattia Grappolini fighting. Here is Albert Ingo and Florian Collet, Julien Pascal in front of them. But Philippe Mattea still holds third place, but they are chasing him forward. Kiskolo, Pascal, Ingo, Collet, Dionysis, Pieter, Nissenen and Bourgeois, everyone down to P12. Albert Ingo moving up to P6 in front of Julien Pascal. Here Francisco Gelstein clocking best lap times in this race, already 3.5 seconds in front of everyone. Mattia Grappolini quite lonely in P2, but this is Philippe Mattea with number 4. And behind him, Volkerts and Criscolo are fighting again and almost succeed. Massimo Criscolo going inside of Kyle Volkert. That is fight for P4. We have 5.5 minutes to go in this race. They are followed by Albert Ingo and Julien Pascal. We just had a train of cars from P3 to P12. And here goes inside the first corner Albert Ingo fighting with Massimo Criscolo for a P5. Criscolo just tried to take back his position from Kyle Volkerts, and on the very next lap it's Ingo Albert trying to overtake Massimo Criscolo. That is a fight for P5. Volkerts up, and here is a crash. Is that the Volkerts who spun and now has lost everything? Philippe Mattea is still third now. Volkerts is fourth. Everything is okay with him, but it is Massimo Criscolo who has lost positions in this lap. He is down to P13 or P12 now. Everyone else is completing one more lap in this race. Julien Pascal up to P5, but Massimo Criscolo now is down to 13th. Here he goes with number 26, but this is a fight for a step on the podium. It's Philippe Mattea in number 4, Kyle Volkerts in number 8. Now there is a gap behind them, and that means Kyle Volkerts can try to do something, can try to overtake Philippe Mattea, and took off him the third step on the podium. We have less than 4 minutes left in this race. One more best lap time from Francisco Gelstein. 4.3 seconds is his gap at the front, but Matteo Grappolini 4 seconds behind leader, 4 seconds in front of third placed Mattea. Grappolini is driving alone, also Francesco Gelstein, but fight for the third step on the podium is on. 3 minutes to go. Mattea third and Volkerts fourth. Here they are coming uphill again. The 15th lap of this race. Albert Ingo with number 1 chasing Julien Pascal in number 29. They are losing to Volkerts and Mattea. They have left Volkerts and Mattea here fighting through the final corner and through the starting straight for the third place in this race. Two leaders, 4 seconds between them, Francisco Gelstein and Matteo Grappolini, and then comes a hard fight for the third place in this race between Philippe Mattea and Kyle Volkerts. Gelstein in number 13 leading the race with almost 5 seconds advantage. Matteo Grappolini second, Philippe Mattea still third. Jesse Nissinen in P8. Edis Malinowski still suffering from 3 seconds penalty. Also penalty for number 13, Francisco Gelstein. illegal overtake for the leader of this race, and now the gap is decreased to 1.7 seconds. That means Matteo Grappolini could win this race if he could be closer to Francisco Gelstein. We have 1.5 minutes to go in this race. Gelstein had a 4.7 seconds advantage at the front, and he is lucky to get so big gap behind him because that saves him the win. Now he is still leading even with the 3 seconds added to his race time. Now on the classification, there are only 1.7 between Gelstein and Grappolini. That is already with 3 penalty seconds accounted for Francisco Gelstein. Philippe Mattea and Kyle Volkert still fighting for third on the track. The final minute of this race. Here comes number 13, the lucky number this time for Francisco Gelstein. He is leading the race and he is still running away from everyone. 47.5 seconds from Francisco Gelstein. 2.4 or 5.4 actually on the track, 2.4 in the classification. Francisco Gelstein will hold his lead even with 3 seconds penalty. This is a final lap of this race. What a race and what a final for Francisco Gelstein. Still setting best times through the sectors of the final lap of this race. He has enough of advantage in the front of everyone. Francisco Gelstein is over the finish line. We can count 3 seconds, the penalty for him, and only almost 3 seconds more later comes Matteo Grappolini. It is Philippe Mattea who holds off the offensive of Kyle Volkert, and over the finish line in third. Volkert's fourth, Albert Ingo in P5. Then Julien Pascal takes sixth. Glendy Dionysis is seventh. Arthur Piette in P8. Ninth for Anthony Bourgeois. Then Jesse Nissinen, Florian Collet, Edis Malinovskis, and Alexander Lutzenkirchen. And Massimo Criscolo, we have a penalty for Mars Liepinch. We have a penalty for Francisco Gelstein. Now for Edis Malinovskis, there is a penalty for number 11. There is a penalty for number 13. So Edis Malinovskis is classified in 12th position, but Francisco Gelstein manages to pull big enough gap in the front to maintain his first position even after 3 seconds penalty has added to his racing time. That was the final for Group C. And now we are getting ready for the second fastest group of drivers in a B final today. A short recap from C final. We just saw it is Malinovskis pushing Jesse Nissinen. After that, Malinovskis received a penalty. Nissinen gained positions, then lost some positions. But Matteo Grappolini overtake Massimo Criscolo and got to the second place. Philippe Mattea up to third, and third place Mattea was able to hold whole race in front of Kyle Volkert, who was moving up the ranks through those 15 minutes but still missed the podium in P4. Mattea here goes up and with the number 4 in front of Volkert and Albert Ingo. Now they are checking their weights, removing the ballast, and getting ready for prize giving ceremony. But we still have 2 races to go. 2 groups of fastest drivers, the 28 fastest drivers from 98 who are fighting here in Saudi World Series E-Sprint. Wendy Dionysis, number 19, jumped over the car in front. Ingo Albert with number 1 overtaking Julien Pascal in 29. But Kyle Volkert and Philippe Mattea still fought for the third place in this race till the end of those 15 minutes. Now the Group B drivers already at the exit of the pit line. Drivers classified from 15th to 28th after two heats of this day of racing here in Saudi World Series E-Sprint Finals. The second fastest group of drivers taking their grid slots at the start. There is Michal Willim starting from pole position, Janne Pajonen on the first row, second row for Teo Janček and Dorian Hankes. From third row goes Francesco Panatti and Adam Heng. Fourth row on the grid is for Eduard Varkel and Remy Panetier. Then fifth row Carmo Kerb and Fabrizio Kallio. Behind them Marceau Guigny, Edward Kezix, William Kneppen and Thibaut Petrona. 14 cars on the grid, two finals left today. Group B is ready to go. It's a full start for number 10. And now we start the racing. Fight for second. The leader is pulling away. A few crashes through the second corner. Now going uphill. Everyone goes through without big damage and without many lost positions. So quite polite start for Group B drivers in the final. Michal Vilim leading, Teo Janček up to second. Third is Janne Pajunen. Janček got from third on the grid to the second in the first lap. Michal Vilim leading the race. Teo Janček in front of Janne Pajunen, then Dorian Hankes and Francesco Panati completing the top 5. Approaching the end of the first lap, going through the last corner, and Vilim first, Janček second, Thibaut Petrona up to P4, Dorian Hankes down to P5. It's Francesco Panati who suffered the most in the first corners. Now he is only 6th, followed by Adam Heng and Karmo Kerb up to P8. From P9, one position gained for Estonian. Eduard Varkel is right behind him. Then Remy Panetier, Fabrizio Kallio, Marco Gini, William Kneppen and Eduard Keziks. It is Teo Janček fighting for second. Janne Pajunen behind him. Michal Vilim still leading the race. 27 of Eduard Keziks now running last after an unfortunate start. Vilim leading, Janček second and Janne Pajunen in third. P7 for Karmo Kerb. Adam Heng is now behind him in P8. Already in the first laps, and we are in 48 zeros for the best lap times of this race. Michal Vilim leading, Teo Janček, then Janne Pajunen, only half a second, 0.6 seconds between them. 1 second between Pajunen in third and Thibaut Petrona in P4. Thibaut Petrona from last on the grid went up to P4 during the first laps of the race. No, he was starting in third row, Thibaut Petrona. Anyway, he now is fourth, that for sure, with a go-kart number 10. But Michal Vilim is leading with 0.6 seconds. Then almost a second between Teo Janček and Janne Pajunen in third. Pajunen with number 17, Janček with 22, and Michal Vilim with number 18. Adam Heng sets the best lap time of this race with 47.9. One more lap completed, 3 minutes already spent on the track. Michal Vilim is leading with 0.6 advantage over Teo Janček. Janne Pajunen falling further back in P3, then Thibaut Petrona in P4, Dorian Hankes following him by only 0.2 seconds. That is a very, very hard fight for a third place now on the track. .24 of Dorian Hankes chasing Thibaut Petrona for P4. 0.3 of a second between them. Here are the leaders through the last corners. Vilim leading, Janček, Pajunen third, then Petrona, Hankes, Panati, Kerb, Heng, Varkel and Fabrizio Kallio completing the top 10. Then Marceau Guigny, Remy Panetier, William Kneppen and Edvard Keziks. Number 10 of Thibaut Petrona. He's got Dorian Hankes and Francesco Panati right behind him. Also Karmo Kerb is close enough to join this fight. Michal Vilim, Teo Janček and Janne Pajunen. Less than second between them. Then a bigger gap between Pajunen and Petrona in P4. And after P4 there are Petrona, Hankes, Panati, Kerb, Heng, Varkel, Kallio, Guigny, Panetier, Kneppen and Keziks. Everyone less than second behind the guy running in front. So close are those gaps in this race, and now we have all 14 drivers, and gaps between all 14 drivers are less than 1 second. 0.8, 0.2, 0.7, but less than 1 second between each of them, and only 7.8 seconds between first and last on the track. Between Michal Vilim and Edward Keziks, between first and 14th, there are only 7 seconds. That means half a second between each of them. So competitive are those drivers now riding in a B group final. 9 minutes left to race. Almost 6 spent on the track, and still we have no gaps between those drivers. Michal Vilim goes from Teo Janček to 1.2 seconds, but on the very next lap, Teo Janček answers with the fastest lap time of the race with 47.8 and is reducing the gap to the front again. Number 18 of Michal Vilim already across the finish line and through the first corner. Teo Janček 1/10 faster in this lap, but now it's Thibaut Petrona in P4 who sets new best lap time. He is only 4/10 of a second behind Janne Pajunen. Petrona is very, very fast. He is chasing Pajunen and fighting for the place on the podium. Janček is 0.9 in front of Pajunen. Vilim still 1.1 in front of Janček. 8 minutes left in this race. Almost half of the race already spent on the track. And there is number 24 of Dorian Hankes chasing Thibaut Petrona and Janne Pajunen. It's Pajunen with number 17 looking back on the starting straight. Thibaut Petrona with number 10 right behind, and Dorian Hankes joined this fight in P5 now. Then the train of cars starting from P6 and ending with P14. Half of the race already done, 7.5 minutes to go. Still very, very small gaps between all the drivers from the first till the last. Only 8 seconds separating 14 drivers on the track. Michal Vilim leading with 1.2 seconds advantage. Almost a second, already a second between Janček and Pajunen. Thibaut Petrona chasing Pajunen together with Dorian Hankes, who will be on podium after this race. We will see during the last 7 minutes. Here, going downstairs is Janne Pajunen. Thibaut Petrona is chasing him, but there is also Dorian Hankes. All three of them are fighting for the final step on the podium, and only second in front of them is Teo Janček in P2. Pajunen looking back over his shoulder. Thibaut Petrona is right behind. Also Dorian Hankes. Here they are coming downhill. Hankes goes very, very wide entering the corner, but still is P5 behind Thibaut Petrona and Janne Pajunen. Here is the fight for P3 going through the last corner. It's Hankes with 24, Petrona with number 10 and Pajunen with number 17. There is a fight further back too. Francesco Panatti, Carmo Kerb, number 3 and number 12, fighting for P6 and P7, but we are following the fight for the final step on the podium. Pajunen from the inside through this corner, and then after the next corner going uphill for the second time in this lap. We have less than 6 minutes left in this race. Janne Pajunen is defending his third place. He is defending his spot on the podium. New lap record for Eduard Varkel. He is down in P9. Pajunen, Petrona and Hankes still fighting for P3. It's Eduard Varkel with number 32 on his go-kart, currently running 9th behind Adam Heng and Carmo Kerb. But here are 3rd, 4th and 5th places. Pajunen in front, Petrona and Hankes chasing him. Less than 5 minutes till the end of this race. One more race is left today. the fastest drivers are coming downstairs and looking for their ballast, checking their weight and getting ready for their final. Four minutes to go, still no overtaking moves from Thibaut Petrona and Dorian Hankes. They are very, very close behind Janne Pajonen, but now also Panati, Kerb and Heng are closing in. There is less than second between Hankes and Panati. Panati is closing in, and soon we will have not 3 drivers fighting for the third step on the podium. We will have 12 drivers fighting for the final step on the podium. So long is this train going through the starting line. Now it's Karmo Kerb with number 12 going uphill now, following Francesco Panati in P6, also very close to Dorian Hankes and Thibaut Petrona. Janne Pajonen is leading this train in P3. He has lost 2 seconds, almost 2 seconds to Teo Janček in second, and Teo Janček is 1.5 seconds behind Michal Vilim in the lead. And Karmo Kerb goes inside, going downhill. Does he succeed through this corner? It seems so. Karmo Kerb goes up in front of Francesco Panati, but that is Eduard Keziks. Stopped on the track, crashed into the barriers, and now is rejoining the race in the last place. But Karmo Kerb, Estonian, moves up to P6 in the closing stages of this race. Now Francesco Panati is down to P7 in front of Adam Heng. But can Karmo Kerb chase Dorian Hankes and fight for P5, P4 and P3? There still are Pajonen, Petrona and Hankes. Here they are, and in the black and yellow race suit comes Karmo Kerb in P6. There is 1.1 second to Tilde Hankes in front of Kerb. Hankes now 5th, Petrona 4th and Pajonen 3rd. There are only a few centimeters between them, only 2 minutes left till the end of the race. Is here someone able to do an overtake and fight for the final spot on the podium? Vilim is far in front, almost 2 seconds. Almost 2 seconds also between Janček and Pajonen, but Pajonen has the train of Petrona, Hankes, Kerb, Panati and Heng behind him. It's 22 of Teo Janček in a lonely second place in this race, but here we are fighting for the third step on the podium. Here comes third, Janne Pajonen, then Thibaut Petrona and Dorian Hankes. Also very close is Karmo Kerb. Kerb is closing in by more than half a second per lap, and now there are only 0.7 between Kerb and Hankes. Can Karmo Kerb fight for top 5 in a closing lap of this race? 1 minute left in Group B final. Pajonen looking back almost at every straight on this track. Here goes Vilim, goes Janček, and then here is Pajonen, Petrona, Hankes, Kerb, Panati, also Heng and Varkel. What a fight for Janne Pajonen. The whole race there is 1, 2 or even more cars right behind him. Janne Pajonen is able to hold his third place, to defend his third place. He is losing a little bit to Michal Vilim and Teo Janček, but still holding third. This is the final lap of this race. Michal Vilim, number 18, leading the race by 2.5 seconds. Teo Janček in third, and here is the fight for the third place. Pajonen, Petrona, Hankes, Kerb, Panati, Heng and Eduard Varkel. But number 18 over the finish line and takes the win in Group B final today. Teo Janček is third and Janne Pajunen. The whole race, someone has tried to take away from him this P3, but Janne Pajunen holds on and is over the finish line in P3. Going on the podium for a Group B final, Thibaut Petrona is fourth, Dorian Hankes fifth, and Karmo Kerb through the 15 minutes of the race moving up to P6. Francesco Panatti seventh, eighth is Adam Heng, then Eduard Varkel and Fabrizio Kallio completing top 10, followed by Marceau Guigny, William Kneppen, Edward Kezix and Remy Panetiu. Group B has finished now and we are ready for the fastest race of the day, for the fastest drivers here in Saudi World Series E-Sprint. 14 fast drivers after results from both heats today. Both heats combined determine the best 14 drivers that will go on the track. Who will go on the track in the A final. Now a short recap from the best moments of the Group B final. 15 minutes on the track. It's Mikael Willim and Teo Janček fighting at the front. Janne Pajunen holding off and defending his third place. Thibaut Petrona got a few positions during the race, also progressed during the race. Karmo Kerb and went up to P6. Just behind Dorian Hankes, Francesco Panatti, P7 over the finish line, then Adam Heng and Eduard Varkel and Fabrizio Kallio in P10. Here is number 12 of Karmo Kerb. But Mikael Willim leading the race from the start to the finish. With his number 18 taking the win in a Group B final in a first day of Saudi World Series E-Sprint here in Wavre. But the busiest race was for Janne Pajunen. The whole 15 minutes, 19 laps. He had to defend his position, his third place on the track, and he did that. Here we just saw Karmo Kerb moving up to P6. That's all for Group B, and now we are waiting for 14 fastest drivers to go on the track for the fastest final of this day, for the fastest race of this day. Very, very soon in just...
ago now that we've been using the car. It's been a journey of exploration and learning for the company. It's been really good. You know, the batteries are exactly the same battery as when we launched, which I think is really impressive when you think that we've had well over 2,000 charging cycles. Even with the powertrain, you know, it really means that there's no maintenance with this product, and I think this is really a credit to the guys at Rotax to develop such a robust car. And if you look at the performance, when you consider the weight that we carry at the moment, it is really impressive.
14 fastest drivers just took their go-karts and are ready to go racing for the fastest final of this day here in number 13. It's Patrick Porta waiting for green light to turn on at the exit of the pit line. It's number 4 for Alex Mrotzko. It's number 8 for Jan Flambard. 16 for Max Karhunen. They are going for formation lap and soon will be back on the grid for the start of Final A. 14 fastest drivers according to the results of both heats combined. A lot of them were in different groups through the first heats, but now the results combined, they are joined together in a one fastest group of drivers. 14 fastest drivers from 98 total who arrived here, who classified to the E-Sprint finals, and now they are coming to the grid. It's number 1 for Enzo Gagnage, number 20 for Clement Esposito, go-kart number 8 for Jan Flambard, 26 is Theodor Iverson, 16 that's Max Karhunen, 19 for Andrejs Leipnieks, 21 Michal Letovanec. It's Loic Martin in number 25, David Masiero. Number 7, Alex Mrotzko. Number 4, Patrick Porta with 13. Axel Sarniala. Number 29, Emrik Törnqvist. Number 11, and Baptiste van der Beek already on P1 on the grid with number 30. Van der Beek first. Alongside him on the first row, it's Patrick Porta starting second. Second row for Axel Sarniala and Jan Flambard. On third row we have Max Karhunen on the inside and Alex Mrotzko from the outside. Fourth row on the grid, that's Enzo Gagnage, and from outside starting Clement Esposito. Then 9th and 10th positions on the grid. From P9 starting Andrejs Leipnieks and P10 for Emrik Törnqvist. The 14 fastest drivers, everyone are on their starting slots ready to race for the fastest race of this day. 15 minutes of racing to determine the first winner here in E-Sprint of Saudi World Series. Baptiste van der Beek ended the qualifying with the absolutely fastest lap time overall. Took the win in a first heat, took the win in a second heat, even from starting from P3 on the grid. Now he's in front of everyone. Side by side, they are going into the first corner. Baptiste van der Beek is still leading after first two corners. That is Patrick Porta still going second behind the leader, and they have started the A final of this race. Baptiste van der Beek leading, Patrick Porta right behind, and everyone else following. We just saw Sarniala and Flambard fighting, trying to go up in this race. The fight at the end of the first 10 places. Baptiste van der Beek leading, Patrick Porta second. Now they are going through the first lap of the race. Jan Flambard has lost a few positions at the start. Also Alex Mrotzko is further down the order. And what happened to Michal Letovanec? He is going really slow through the first lap of the race. Letovanec is down to the last position. Max Karhunen is up to 4th. Jan Flambard is now 5th. Then Enzo Gagnage and Clement Esposito, also Andrejs Leipnieks. All of them have moved up. Andrejs Leipnieks up to 8th place now, followed by Alex Mrotzko. Unfortunate start for Alex Mrotzko. He is only P9 after first lap. Baptiste van der Beek is leading, but chased by Patrick Porta. Van der Beek starts first lap already with a 48. We know he can go a lot faster than that. How fast he will go during those 15 minutes. Patrick Porta sets new record in the first sector, new record in a third sector, and there are only 0.2 seconds between them. Patrick Porta fighting with Van der Beek for the lead. Van der Beek in front, Porta behind him, and Axel Sarniala also joining them. We saw Sarniala taking the wins in his heats, in both heats. In his group, now he is chasing both leaders, currently running third on the track in the A final. Axel Sarniala got third best qualifying lap time and was leading Group C heats in both occasions, and now he is running third on the track in a final race of this day. Van der Beek leading, Patrick Porta second, and Axel Sarniala third. The same was between them in qualifying lap times at the very early morning today, and now finally they have met in one race, in one final. All three fastest drivers throughout the whole day of racing here in E-Sprint Finals. Van der Beek leading, Porta second, Sarniala third. Max Karhonen after P4, chased by Jan Flambard and Enzo Gagnage. Esposito Clement in front of Andres Leipniks. Very close is Alex Mrotzko and Emrik Tornquist in P10. Then David Masiero, Loic Martin and Theodor Ivarsson. And Michal Letovanec, something happened to his kart and he went off already after first lap of the race. Number 30 of Baptiste Van der Beek in front of everyone. First 3 minutes spent on the track. Van der Beek is leading, but he is not able to pull away. Patrick Porta is only 0.3 of a second. Only 0.6 further is Axel Sarniala. Very close are going all three leaders in this race. Sarniala was 29, Porta with 13, and Van der Beek was number 30. There is Karhonen, Flambard and Gagnage fighting for P4 till P6. New lap record of 47.7 for Patrick Porta. 0.3 between him and Baptiste Van der Beek. Van der Beek has been only 100 of a second slower, so only for 100 of a second Patrick Porta has closed the gap to Baptiste Van der Beek in his record fast lap. There are some gestures from Clement Esposito, number 20, showing his fist in the air. We can only guess to whom it was mentioned, but anyway, Esposito is running 7th now, followed by Andres Leipniks and Alex Mrotzko. And Leipniks is in front, that's why Clement Esposito made those gestures. Leipniks moved up to P7, Alex Mrotzko now is 8th, and Clement Esposito down to 9th position in front of David Masiero, Loic Martin and Emrik Tornquist. But it's still Baptiste Van der Beek leading this race with 0.3 seconds advantage over Patrick Porta. There is a little bit bigger gap between Porta and Sarniala. Axel Sarniala going third in this race. Andres Leipniks with 19 in front of Alex Mrotzko. Both of them moving up the orders, both past Clement Esposito in a previous lap. Now we have investigation from judges for the Andres Leipniks. There was under investigation also Emrik Tornquist, but there everything is clear and he is now running in P12. But here are the leaders. Van der Beek in front, Patrick Porta second and Axel Sarniala third. Max Karhunen setting his best lap times and trying to close in. Now he is less than second behind Axel Sarniala. But Baptiste Van der Beek pull out the absolutely fastest lap time in the morning qualifying, but now is not able to pull away. And here are the more and more competitors coming closer and closer. It's Enzo Gagnage with number 1 in P6. He's very close behind. There are fighting Baptiste van der Beek and Patrick Porta. What can do Porta to overtake Baptiste van der Beek? Van der Beek was faster in the qualifying. He won his heats, and now Patrick Porta, who also won both his heats, is chasing Van der Beek and Axel Sarnella with the same results throughout the whole day. Baptiste van der Beek got the extra points for a win of the qualifying already. He got the same points for the win of both races, and now he will lead the overall standings if he holds his first place during this race. Number 1, it's Enzo Gagnage chasing Jan Flambard, fighting for P5, and there is penalty for Andrzej Leipnieks. Leipnieks is still P7 on the track, but with a 3 seconds penalty for illegal overtake now, Leipnieks is classified P9. There is a gap big enough to Clement Esposito, 9th place, for Leipnieks to lose only 1 position because of those 3 penalty seconds, so he's still classified in P8. But on the track, he's still in front of Alex Mrocko. Here are the leaders, Baptiste van der Beek, and very, very close behind is Patrick Porta. They are pulling away from Axel Sarniala. Sarniala is driving 3rd now. He has 1.5 seconds till Porta and less than second till Karhunen, who is closing in P4. We have 2 drivers fighting for the win now. Those are Baptiste van der Beek and Patrick Porta, and behind them there are 2 drivers fighting for the P3, Axel Sarniala and Max Karhunen. As soon as Sarniala started to lose ground to Patrick Porta, there came Max Karhunen, and now 2 Finns are fighting for the final step on the podium. But also fight for the win is not over. What can do Patrick Porta? Is he faster? Can he overtake? Can he do that without damage to himself and Baptiste van der Beek? We already have seen today when the leaders trying to overtake one another are losing at least 2 positions both, and everyone else behind them close enough is passing by. The competition is so intense here that any mistake costs you not 1 but more places, even 5 or 4, as long the train is behind everyone. Now we have 2 clear pairs fighting for the places on the track. It's Baptiste van der Beek and Patrick Porta. Here they are coming, and then behind them is Sarniala, Karhunen, Flambard and Gagnage. Just before lap, Sarniala and Karhunen were fighting one another. Now they are joined by Jan Flambard and Enzo Gagnage. Alex Mrocko classified in front of Andrzej Leipnieks. On the track they are in different positions. Leipnieks now is chasing Enzo Gagnage. But Patrick Porta and Baptiste van der Beek still fighting for the lead. Less than 5 minutes to go. Here is Baptiste, here comes Patrick, fighting for the win, fighting for the first top step of the podium here in Saudi World Series. Van der Beek already has advantage in the points after success in qualifying. Patrick Porta just needs this first place in this race to be level on points, to take off some points on Baptiste van der Beek. Van der Beek already participated in the E-Sprint finals before. He did a huge mistake with the ballast and with the weight and got disqualification in one race that hugely impacted his chances of winning last year in Switzerland, and now he is leading everything so far. He has been on the track. He won the qualifying, he won the first heat, he won the second fleet, although he didn't set the fastest lap time on the short qualifying session before second heat. He started 3rd, but didn't need more than one lap to be back in front again. And now Van der Beek is leading. Max Karhunen is past Axel Sarniala, going up to P3. Now Axel Sarniala is down to P4 and Karhunen is going for the podium. The fourth best driver in the qualifying now is moving up to P3. Axel Sarniala is behind, also Jan Flambard and Enzo Gagnage close enough to fight for positions. Last 3 minutes of this race. Patrick Porta and Baptiste Van der Beek, 0.2 seconds. It cannot get closer than this. There are only few centimeters going over the finish line between Porta and Van der Beek. They are fighting for the win, for the first win here in Saudi World Series E-Sprint. Van der Beek is leading, but whole race he is not able to pull away from Porta. Porta is chasing Van der Beek and waiting for his opportunity to take the win. Does he have a speed to do this? Does he has found a place where to do that on this very, very difficult track? One more lap completed, 0.3 between Van der Beek and Porta. 2 minutes left till the finish. And here they are, Van der Beek at the front and Patrick Porta second. Very, very close, approaching next corner. Van der Beek still going wide. And it was a try from Patrick Porta, but crash between him and Baptiste Van der Beek. Van der Beek holds his position going uphill for the second time in this lap. And Patrick Porta, after this small crash, has lost a few tenths. And now this is maybe the biggest gap Baptiste Van der Beek has had in the whole race in those 14 minutes already spent on the track. It's Max Karhunen quite lonely in a third place. Patrick Porta trying to chase Van der Beek and catch him one more time. 0.7 now there. Half a second. Patrick Porta has lost to Van der Beek in this small crash one lap before. 1 minute to go in this race. Baptiste Van der Beek uphill once more in the same place on the track where Patrick Porta crashed to the inside of him. Here is number 29 of Axel Sarniala trying to defend his P4 from Jan Flambard and Enzo Gagnage. Flambard with number 8, Gagnage with number 9. Chasing Axel Sarniala. Sarniala already lost position in top 3. Now is running 4th. And here are Enzo Gagnage and Jan Flambard. Gagnage aiming for inside on the starting straight. We are going for the final lap of this race. Patrick Porta just set the fastest lap of this race as he is again chasing Baptiste Van der Beek and trying to get in the front of him, trying to get the first win of this day in the finals. Patrick Porta 47.3. That's absolutely fastest lap time of this day. Even in a qualifying in the morning, no one managed to go so fast as Patrick Porta is going now. This small mistake and a half a second of free track goes Patrick Porta, and there is the finish line. Baptiste Van der Beek takes the win. Patrick Porta sets the absolutely best lap time so far in Saudi World Series E-Sprint here in Wavre, 47.3. But anyway, Porta is second, Karhunen third. It's Axel Sarniala coming home in P4. Jan Flambard is 5th, Enzo Gagnage 6th, Alex Mrochko 7th, Andres Leipnieks with a 3 seconds penalty is classified 8th, Clement Esposito P9, 10th Davide Massiero, then Emrik Tornquist, Loic Martin, Theodor Iverson and Michal Letovanec. Group A final is over. The final classification on our screens. And now 3 seconds penalty for Andres Leibniz. Everyone else got through with just warnings. but with 3 seconds, Leibniz losing only one position to Alex Mrozko and still in front of Clement Esposito in P9. That was the A final of this day. Baptiste van der Beek, Patrick Porta, Axel Sarnial, Max Karhunen, Gagnage Flambard, everyone fighting for the win. But it is Baptiste van der Beek who is the most successful driver of first day of racing here in Wavre. The best moments from the last final of this race, 19 of Andrejs Leibniz fighting on the track. Later he got 3 seconds penalty. Patrick Porta chased Van der Beek whole race, whole 15 minutes, but it was not enough and Van der Beek took the win in front of Porta. Max Karhunen got on the podium, overtaking Axel Sarnial. Sarnial defended on the last part of the race his P4 from Jan Flambard and Enzo Gagnage. But Baptiste van der Beek and Patrick Porta, it came to the penultimate lap when Porta tried to go inside, small crash between them. But anyway, van der Beek maintained his lead and was over the finish line in P1 and taking the win. Some crashes behind, fighting between Max Karhunen and Axel Sarnial. Sarnial tried to get back his P3. Karhunen took away from him during this race. And here, very fast exit from the corner for Patrick Porta, and in the next corner he hit the inside, the right side of the Baptiste van der Beek's go-kart. There, Van der Beek got 0.7 seconds advantage, and that was the biggest gap between them. But in a last lap of the race, Patrick Porta set the new fastest lap time of the day, but anyway, that was not enough. Baptiste van der Beek took the win. Patrick Porta was second, and Max Karhunen will step on a third step on a podium today. The first day of racing is over here in Saudi World Series E-Sprint Finals. We are getting ready for prize giving ceremony, but tomorrow is a new day with a new qualification, new heats and new finals, and only counting both days together tomorrow evening we will know who will be crowned as Saudi World Series E-Sprint champion here in Wavre, Belgium.